So I just wanted to show you a script I've created called GetOfficeGraphUnifiedGroups.ps1. It uses Windows PowerShell and it makes an assumption that you've already set up Office Graph in Azure and you've tested it and everything is running cool. What this script does is it will use Office Graph and it will query Office Graph for any Office 365 group activity. It will then query for any Office 365 groups and it will loop the groups and find out if they have a related team site or any SharePoint site, and it will export stuff to CSV, XML, and also create a HTML page, and I'll show you those in a little bit. So let's run this script. First thing it's going to ask for is my tenant name, so copy and paste that in. Then ask for my client ID, or in the Azure world the application ID, but you should already know that. Then ask for the redirect URI, which again you set when you created the Azure application. It's now going to ask me for my creds. Okay, so what it does initially, and again I'll show you actually in the code, is it's getting Office Graph activity. What it's doing at the moment is looping through all of the Office or Unified groups that it's found and parsing some of the information and then producing a whole load of files. So if I show you in here, so I have a folder. You can have a look at the other files, but the interesting one is this web page. Let's just make it so it actually all appears on the screen. So essentially on this tenant I have 10 groups, 4 groups have guests, I got 5 teams, so the teams are in green, the normal groups are in orange. I don't have any deleted groups, and you can essentially see owners, members, if allow external senders has been set, the member and owner count, if there's any related SharePoint sites, if there's any activity, so I've got a few that I haven't done anything with. You can also see items in Exchange and SharePoint Online. So that is pretty much what the script does. That was quite quick. When you have 4,000, 10,000 Office 365 groups, it does take a little bit of time. But pretty much from here I can see what are teams, what are not, and that's kind of important. One of the interesting things is if I open up this, so this is the Office Graph Office 365 group activity report. Now what's rubbish with this is you don't get the group ID, you essentially get the group display name and the owner. And the only way to match activity to a team is to look at the group name, and if the group name and owner match, that's cool. If it doesn't, then it just makes assumptions. It's not brilliant, and the reason it's not brilliant is Microsoft need to update this Office Graph report to show you the group ID, and that's what is a pain, and that's taken a bit of time to try and work out how the hell to get that to work. So we've seen that one, so let me show you this. So this is the script. Stuff for setting Office Graph and get the auth token is included in the script. It makes some assumptions, but let me show you the nuts and bolts. That's the first thing. So that gets the group activity and then saves it out. It then does a query on Office Graph for unified groups. It then comes down the end and it then loops all of the unified groups that it's found. What it will then do is look at the group itself and get a little bit more information. It will then do, and this is kind of the funky bit, and I stole the idea from Tony Redmond, so thank you, Tony. But he was doing it in a different way. So he was using the Teams PowerShell to get this. I'm just using OfficeGraph. So essentially, if you query to get the channels from a group, if the group exists, you'll get the channels, which means that's cool. If you get a 403, it's an access denied. Okay, that means the team exists. And if you get a 404, that's page not found, so that means it's not a team. And that's quite a funky way to actually sort that out. Yep, so the only other thing it will do is look at see if there's a OneDrive root, and if there is, then get the root SharePoint information, then gets members and owners, and this matches it all up, and then essentially you get the web page. So the web page again is this. So I hope this has been useful. Hit me on my blog if you have any questions related to it, but this is essentially the script that I use pretty much every day. Thank you.
And that's all, folks.